Startup Unscripted. The questions you have with the truths you need to hear.
And now your host, Michael Dinsio.
All right, guys. Welcome back. This is Michael Dinsio with Dental Startup Unscripted. I screwed up. I'm on the wrong program, but good to see you guys back. Look, we got a fun program today. It's all things kind of systems, patient flow, and engagement. And I'm lucky to have my partner on the podcast today. Paula, say hi. Hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula. Today I had to pull in the big guns because Paula, as you guys know, does or helps with all things systems and operations. And so I was totally fish out of water today, but I'm going to try to do my best and act like I know everything about what happens inside a dental office. But Paula's gonna help us here. But thanks for being on the program again, as always, Miss Paula. But without further ado, let's get Camille Kinney on with Dental Intelligence. She helps us. She's a partner and brings us a pretty cool solution for a lot of our clients. So we thought in interviewing her and giving her the stage today. So welcome to the program, Camille.
Thank you.
So big picture, guys.
I'm here with Michael and I on stage.
I know. I hope she gets a word in her too. Paul and I are always fighting and trying to steal the stage, but yeah, no, guys, like, look, as a startup, should be thinking about systems and getting going. Just to put you in the right mind frame. Here we are. We've got the space. Construction's happening. Marketing probably has strategy on what we're going to do to get calls coming in, but then it's really about, like, what do we do when we get those calls? Oh crap, we got to actually engage with patients and help them and do dentistry. And so essentially that's where we're at. And I always get the question kind of like, well, what next? How do I set that? When do I start setting those systems up? And so I'm going to actually pass this to Paula. Like, that's the first question. We're going to bring Camille in on the solution, but like with this topic, like, what do you usually tell clients when we're thinking about these things and how early we need to start thinking about patient workflow?
Well, I'd like to think about it, a few months out. There's a lot of decisions to be made, and some of them are a domino effect. So, to choose one thing, you want to choose another. We start looking at, what do you want your patient experience to look like and all of that stuff. So I would say, as soon as I would say a couple months out, 2 to 3 months out, I'd definitely be thinking about, what do you want that to look like? How do you want that to be implemented? I know there's a lot of choices out there. So that's usually the first question is, how do I choose? Which one do I choose?
Yeah.
I want to be automated. The days of paper forms are almost gone. Still a few standing, but convenience, right? A lot of them are all about convenience. How do we do this? The digital world is here. So we want to streamline things, or at least make that available as much as possible. So that's where we start is, when would be 2 to 3 months out. And then the next, when do I start making the decision? And the next thing is, which one do I choose?
Yeah, so, I guess that's a perfect lead in on which one do we choose? And so
we choose.
Exactly. So I guess let's just start with, like, who is Modento and Dental Intelligence, and tell us a little bit about the company and what you do and what solutions you guys provide these doctors setting up startups.
Absolutely. We all are about the patient experience. Keeping offices up to date about the patient experience is huge. We do provide online scheduling, which is crucial for startups, I believe. Obviously, digital forms, our forms really set us apart in the industry. Because we are dental specific, it really is nice because we can set up so much customization, whereas other platforms, it's kind of a one size fits all.
Yeah.
But really, it is about patient experience. It is, communicating with patients in their preferred method. As far as texting goes, digital forms, all of that stuff, consent forms. Really just helping the office from the get-go go paperless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Paula, you alluded to this, right? That it's the digital age where, I mean, I feel like post COVID changed it all. Don't you, Paula? Like, I feel like when we coach clients, like getting people to fill out their stuff early was like impossible. And then all of a sudden COVID happened and people sat in the parking lot and couldn't come into the office. Like, right? Am I
Well, I mean, I think it's been around a little bit longer than that, but I think you're right. I think what's changed is convenience. Now we want to be in the comfort of our home and do things. So I think that's the big thing. I think the scheduling on the online became huge. I think making, like you just said, making it less traffic in the offices became a big thing. So I think having all that stuff previously done and making sure that, it's all solidified. I think patient experience became really big too, right? Where, we all kind of took a downturn with patients coming, to our practices. So, it's loyalties change. A lot of things have changed. So I think it's really cool. The more we enhance our patient experience through making things simple and easy for them. When they come in, we're ready for them, and all the different aspects, I think is really where it's at for a dental practice. That's what patient experience is all about.
Cam, why Modento? Like they're like, as consultants, Paul and I get the question like literally daily, sometimes multiple times per day, sometimes multiple times in the same hour. Why Modento? We're big fans, but I'd rather hear it from you. Like, what's the game changer with you guys?
Sure. I think because our platform is so customizable that it works, especially for startups. Obviously, they run extremely differently than an established practice does, and we have the ability to customize it to a practice. I mean, there's so many things. Again, us being dental specific, really, that's huge. We don't work with any other verticals, so I mean, I think there's just we have such a tight partnership with a lot of patient management softwares, and they choose to partner with us, which says a lot, about Modento. But I really do think it's about, the customization. I don't think that every practice runs the same. And I think to have that leniency on the dashboard and how they're going to run their practice and their patient experience, it kind of it just sets Modento apart.
Yeah. Paula, go. Don't raise your hand. Okay, wait a second. This is a perfect opportunity.
No, I don't care about interrupting you. I don't want to interrupt Camille.
But this is a perfect opportunity to remind everybody to watch this entertainment on YouTube or whatever you're watching this.
Right, shut up. Now I'm going.
So Paula just raised her hand. So how polite of her. But go ahead, Paula. What were you gonna add to that?
Well, I was going to say, because I work a lot with startups, I think one of the really cool things is the automation, like the online scheduling. We ask these startups to work minimal days when they start, and have minimal team, right? Because we can't have them having a bunch of overhead and being in there 5 days a week and racking up, team, a lot of people say staff. I don't like the word staff, team hours and things like that. So what it helps do is, these patients can schedule online, which is really, really super convenient. When they do get scheduled, the forms are going to go out to the patient so that it doesn't get forgotten or forgotten to send, because then you may come in on and I'm going to ask you, Camille, how that works so that I don't mess that up. But so that way that when you come into the practice, maybe you work a Tuesday and then you don't work again till a Thursday, that there are some things that don't slip through the cracks with those patient forms. So because it automatically sends out reminders and does different things, I think that really helps when you're down with a skeleton crew, skeleton days. This is what you get when you're live, right? Can you guys see
this
that?
Is live. That's fine. Everybody meet Coda.
Yes.
Coda's Paula's infamous dog. But
and my daughter.
But I think to go to.
So I wanted to ask Camille real quick though, before you butt in, is Camille, how does that work when they schedule online with local med? You know, I just want to make sure that we're saying that right. When does that form get sent out? Does it have to have a live person involved? And maybe you can explain that situation so that they can understand how cool it actually is.
Sure. No, absolutely. We don't need, once they book online, the forms will automatically go out to the new patient. It will send out a confirmation for their appointment along with the forms to be, for them to complete. We also, to eliminate staff from having to babysit those new patient forms or links, it will automatically attach to any reminder and confirmation going out, which is huge. Some of the other companies out there, basically you have to babysit those links. You have to keep copy and pasting them. They expire every 24 hours. Ours does not. And it will automatically fully upload into their patient management software as well. So there's no copying and pasting, anything like that. That part's, part of one of my favorite features is just being able to, know that the software is doing it versus relying on staff to actually copy and paste that link.
And tell them so obviously you guys have every form under the sun and moon. I don't think you could ask for a form. Maybe I think I found one that was really bizarro that I was like, oh, tell them what I love too is you can when you get set up with Modento, your team onboards, you get to customize those defaults that we were talking about, the package that goes out for a new patient, and then those updates a year or two later. Tell them a little bit about that, because I think that's a really cool system as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you can customize all the forms, and you can put together packets. What was that?
But you barely need to. You really don't need to, but
you really don't. But some offices, they want some specific questions in there. We can edit those for them. We do have default set on our forms, which is really nice. It eliminates all human error. So we can actually read if an office says that they want a health history update or a HIPAA compliancy form done, say once a year, once every 2 years, we can actually set that default and read into the upcoming appointments and automatically send them out. Again, instead of relying on staff, them having to go a week or two in advance, going through copying and pasting those links. Obviously, we're going to read out, we're going to send those, shoot those off to the patient. Again, even with the default forms, or updates, it's automatically going to attach to their reminders if they have not yet completed them. The other thing too with our forms, which I think is huge, if somebody's in the middle of filling out forms or something like that, and they set down their phone, they go do their meeting, take care of their kids, whatever it might be, they can actually reopen that link and it will save what they've already entered. So that part's huge for the patient experience, I think.
Nice. So if Sunday I'm closed, maybe even Sunday and Monday, especially a startup, right? And a patient gets online and they schedule, they'll get their forms. And if they happen to schedule for Tuesday, those forms will be in our practice waiting on us.
Correct.
And in the
patient software. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do want to touch on that from probably a deeper level, because I wonder if the folks out there driving to work right now, I wonder if they even appreciate some of these things, because they've never lived the pain of the front office. I hear you talking about it all the time, Paula. To me, automation, and I hate to say it, but finding ways to be more efficient with less bodies is, I hate to say it, the name of the game. It's the truth, right? And the front office person, Paula, you say it all the time, it's one of the hardest jobs. So when you owned your practice and you were trying to keep all the balls up in the air, give us a little bit of the, insider here on why this shit actually matters.
Well, I mean, mainly because, especially if you're, you have one person up front, and I'll say this really quickly, answering calls, scheduling, checking people in, checking people out, submitting claims, collecting over the counter, presenting a treatment plan, right? They've got literally 80 jobs. And the worst part about it, that's why I say the front office is the hardest part. It's unpredictable all day. It's not, I think hygiene, don't get me wrong, I've been a hygienist for 26 years. It's not an easy job. Dental assistant's definitely not an easy job, but front office, we don't even get a schedule of how it's going to go, right? It's just whatever, whenever a patient feels like calling us or what have you. So if I can free my front office up as much as possible for patient care, so they can take care of the patient in the practice, in the moment. And most of that's going to be, greeting, of course, treatment plan, getting the treatment plan together, presenting the treatment plan, collecting any money due that day, and getting them back on the schedule. That's where I want my one and only front office to be.
Mhm.
Typically, if we have even two, that means our practice is even larger, which we're not going to have in a startup. That's a whole different story, because then there's the whole, insurance and all of that. There's a whole nother position that's created with someone who's a more seasoned practice. So, again, it's also the limitation of maybe not being in the practice every day. I mean, Michael, I only had my practice open 3 days, maybe 3.5. I needed like a partial body there. And that's what Modento did for me with online scheduling, with being able to do the forms, the automated text reminders, things like that. It was almost like a person was there that wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
A virtual employee to the practice.
Yeah.
And we're the least expensive than an employee. We don't talk back and we won't quit.
And there's so many other features we're not even getting into. One of the other really cool features I think I can mention, or I'll even ask Camille about it. Camille, you tell us. I'm sitting here like being the rep that I said I wouldn't be. Tell us a little bit about, not sending statements, which is another whole job for a team member, is sending out those statements. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? And I think you even have a ability to send a treatment plan.
Yep, we can do treatment plans. We can
send something like that.
Yeah, we can do treatment plans and consent forms. The text to pay is huge. We're getting offices paid 80 times quicker. It is the preferred method these days. I'm actually the perfect example of this because I owed my pediatrician office $42. They kept sending me statement after statement after statement. I don't have checks. I don't even know where my stamps are these days. You know what I mean? And so they were sending it to me, and I swear it was like 4 months. And this is like the most embarrassing story. But
I have one of those too right now with my vet. But go ahead. Yeah. No, I'm like, if you would just send me a link, I'd pay it right now.
Exactly what it is. So we call it a virtual terminal. Basically, they can send out a text to pay request, and the patients can thumbprint their payment right over. It does automatically write back into their patient management.
Thumbprint?
Well, because most people have their credit card saved.
That's awesome. So, with your phone.
And
face print.
Right? Offices are going to come across this more and more in 2024 because banks and credit cards are highly encouraging people not to carry a physical card. Amex just sent me a virtual card the other day and told me I could get rid of my physical card if I wanted to. I still like to hold a physical card, but banks are kind of encouraging people to take that route. So the text to pay
perfected this yet.
The phone. The Apple Pay.
So
you're absolutely right. It's convenience, right?
It's convenience and just getting the offices paid much quicker. Like I said, my pediatrician office has been. I'm going to pay them today, I swear. But they have been.
I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to call you. I'm going to text you.
I actually did try. One evening, I left my credit card on their answering machine for them to call me back the next day and leave me a voicemail that they can collect credit cards over the phone, but they physically had to have me on the phone. I've never called. So again, it's just about convenience. It's all about the patient experience,
Well, it also saves you time with the statements and mailing them and all that crap.
Money.
In that vein, we've never had a someone pipe in with a question, but our billing specialist was watching the episode.
Why is your name in there?
And it's just part of the process. And so essentially Stefani here asked.
What's funny is we've been wanting to do an update demo with Camille, and Stefani's like, I need to know more about Modento. So here she is now.
So Cam, the question is, does Modento collect insurance information prior to the patient's appointment so that the team can verify and enter breakdown? And so to me, this is kind of in the same vein of collecting money and being dialed in on treatment plans and offering payment solutions. So I think she's probably leading us here a little bit, but is this something that, can you walk us through this with Modento?
So we can gather, obviously, all the insurance information with the new patient forms. We do offer insurance eligibility as well and full claim submissions. We are generally a lot less expensive than them trying to go through their patient management software, if I'm answering this correctly for you, Stefani. But basically, we will gather the insurance information, and then you guys the office can obviously do the eligibility straight through our dashboard and send the claims straight through there as well. With the patient management softwares, they're charging per claim and per attachment, which gets expensive. But with us, it would be unlimited eligibility, unlimited claims, unlimited attachments. And we have direct partnerships with all the insurance companies. So we can give you guys notifications that if a specific insurance company for like a specific procedure code requires 2 attachments before that claim even sends off, we're going to let you guys know. So again, you're not getting those claims sent back to the office.
Paula, can you dummy this down for me? Like dummy Dinsio this down, what she just said. Because I feel like doctors might not appreciate this on that level. What Cam said, why does that matter?
Well, because when you get a practice management software like Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, they try to push their claim submission, and there's a monthly fee for those, and then there's per attachment. So whenever you're trying to get something paid, like let's just use a crown for example, you're going to need to submit an X-ray. You may even submit an intraoral photo, different things like that. And it's going to cost you to add that information on to even get your claim paid. Where through Modento and their partnership, they're able to do unlimited attachments and verification. And then you can submit the claim through there with it's all inclusive one fee when you sign up for Modento. So you're not paying an additional fee for submit your claims, and you're also not paying an additional fee per attachment, which can rack up, pretty quickly. The other thing I know that they do, and Camille, I don't know, if you get this in depth, so we can just not talk about it, but I know through their particular claim submission portal, when those rejections happen, you get a lot more detail too, so you can easily correct those without going into the insurance portal and having to dig for more information. You get a lot more detailed information, so you know why the claim did not go through, and then you're just able to fix that and resubmit. So it's pretty cool, and you've got to have it. Every office has to have it, unless you're going to print out a paper claim and snail mail it to the insurance company and print out the X-rays and attach them, which I doubt anybody does anymore.
Right.
Did that dummy it down enough for?
Yeah, that's dummy Dinsio style. Folks, we always joke that Paula and Stefani will be rapping about this stuff, and then I'll be like, "Hey, can we talk in my language now? Okay, can someone explain what you guys are?"
Well, you're a great addition, because we sometimes get in our own head, and we've got so much dental experience that we forget we're talking to not all startups are baby doctors, but a lot of them, and even seasoned docs, they're not up front. So usually, it's not their language. They're I don't know what you're talking. They've had the front office gal forever. They don't even know. One thing we didn't finish up on though is the treatment plan. I think we stopped talking before we talked about a link to pay, but isn't there an option to send the treatment plan to the patient as well through?
Yes, we can send it directly to the patient, and they can even sign their treatment plan through there and accept the treatment, and it will come back to the practice. We do also, which a lot of all offices, we do have links. So if they accept Care Credit, YStack, anything like that, we can actually put those links virtually on the treatment plan. So if it is an expensive treatment plan, they can apply straight through that link.
Right on there. Right. Wow. That's super integrative. I think in a world where the millennial zennial, I think, is the appropriate what do you call that demographic. I think this is going to become more and more a thing. I got in an argument with my mom this past weekend about payment.
During Thanksgiving?
During Thanksgiving.
Did you forget the hospitality versus?
I did. We trained on
Italian, huh?
Yeah, I'm not a hospitalian. We got in an argument at Thanksgiving dinner about how doctors need to offer in-house financing, and I explained to her how inappropriate that is, and that doctors are not banks. And so we had this whole conversation around patient financing and finding solutions on that. So Ken, that's a really cool thing. So getting payments virtually and offering solutions like this does make a difference. So what I heard was insurance verification, collections, forms and engagement. As far as forms, getting forms back,
Scheduling
scheduling online.
Crucial.
What else am I missing? Because it just seems like it's covering a lot of bases, right?
Well,
now.
they just the communication in general. Sorry, Camille.
No, you're good. No, it's the two-way, the communication, being able to text. It's just convenient. Also, we're going to take care of all of their recall. So once they hit that point, which is crucial, it's the bread and butter for the practice, right? Once they hit that point, we're going to be right on top of it, so nobody's slipping through the cracks.
Wait, can you deep dive on that a little bit? What do you mean when you say that recall? What are you doing with the recall?
So we can actually read into obviously the patient management software to know if a patient is not on the schedule for, say, a perio maintenance appointment, hygiene appointment, whatnot. We can actually read into that and actually start reaching out to the patient so that they can get it scheduled. We can also attach the link, the online scheduling link, so that patient can actually schedule themselves.
I see. So automating the recall process without someone physically picking up the phone.
Which is huge. People don't answer the phone anymore. They don't. So trying to do that without some automation and not doing it digitally is in my opinion, it crumbles practices.
Yeah. No, I mean, Paula, you can speak to that all day long.
Fill my schedule. I love
Fill
it.
my schedule. First, go ahead, Paula. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm going to move on to a different subject. So if you're elaborate.
Okay. Curveball. I like it. Go. Nice.
Well, I just, I one of the things I always get up with startups is obviously they have no presence, right? They have no Google reviews. They have no, they're just starting their social media. They have no SEO. What does patient engagement Modento provide something for them so they can start collecting those reviews? It's really hard for front office to ask patients for reviews. They make it very awkward. Not all of them. Some are great. Is there something, there's all the rage about all the different, abilities to capture reviews. What solution do you all have to provide?
Yeah, awesome. Good question. Yes, we will take over reviews and help them build a name in the community. The online review links will automatically be sent out. So again, we're not relying on staff. As you mentioned, trying to rely on staff because they're wearing multiple hats, obviously, it's the last thing that they remember. And it's awkward, like you said, to ask them. So obviously after the appointment, we'd automatically send them a link asking them to leave an online review for the practice. So again, building them in Google very quickly.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's so key to Paula's point, because there's so little of an online presence or reputation. And Paula and I always talk about, like, you might get 25, 30 new patients if you're lucky as a startup. And it's not so hard to capture that moment with 20, 30 patients. But once you get to, you see those 20 patients in 6 months, and then that same month you get another 20 patients, that's 40 to 60 new patients in that month. It just starts building. And so essentially what you guys are trying to do is you're trying to catch things before they slip through the cracks, right? And I find that the front office folks listening to Paul and Stefani, things just always are slipping through. And these are front office people that, frankly, they're not owners. They're making okay money, but it's not like they're making incredible money. So the quality sometimes of these front office people are just, it's a job to them. And so anything that you can implement like this to prevent slippage is key.
It is.
Well, Oh, go ahead.
I was going to add in, so the reviews are obviously crucial, but then that brings me back to the online scheduling, because the online scheduling is going to lead patients to the website, which is going to keep patients on the website longer, which is going to in turn help with SEO.
Yes. Paula, how do you use online scheduling with a startup? Let's tie that back to the timeline, because
Yeah.
I know that when I'm working with the startup on the marketing side, and it's always a dance of when you start accepting those
Right.
new patient calls. How does that kind of factor in?
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I would want to, if I was doing a startup, I'd want to open my door with some patients on the schedule, right? And there's obviously marketing. We want to do some marketing. We want to drive them to be able to schedule. Well, we don't always have team members in there, right? A month before we open. So, usually what I would recommend is if we can get the practice management software about a month in advance, engage with Modento, online scheduling and forms, and provide that. What we can start doing is allowing patients to schedule their own appointments, open up the day that we know we're going to open, allowing them to start scheduling. The forms are going to go out. The office will have those. And when we're ready to start, we've already got that presence. Then we usually have, a soft opening, which is a great time to bring, friends and family. They are patients. We get some of those reviews going, so that we can start out that first month really strong. So I usually say, I'm sure Camille has a little bit more input on that. If we could do it months in advance, I would. Usually the hiccup we have with a startup is the IT hasn't been in yet. We're still waiting on a lot of things to happen. We also, obviously they have a big, upfront cost. So we're trying to minimize cost. So it's a nice balance between, do we get them going a couple of months before so we can really get that marketing and reviews going, or do we do it about a month? So I've kind of found that's the sweet spot. It's not too expensive to pay for that practice management software a month in advance, to start with Modento, and then they'll have those patients hopefully on the books prior to coming in. Camille, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you said it perfectly.
Yeah, it's interesting because I get with the startups, I get asked about software and forms and all the things like during the construction process, and that's like 4 months out from opening, and it's always this just like pent up energy of when we can start implementing these systems. But the truth of the matter is you can't do too much before the marketing goes out, before you have a team, before you can even schedule. I mean, I've heard Paula talk about scheduling people with paper if we have to. Like, I mean, there's all kinds of things that startups have to think about, but I think this kind of solution is key for any really startup. Camille, what software right now, currently, if we were to timestamp this, what do you guys connect to? And also, can you speak to cloud? I'm going to come get to that. First, what software plugs in or compatible? And then second, how do you want to address the cloud situation?
Sure. So right now we work with Dentrix, EagleSoft, and Open Dental. With cloud-based software, I'm not a fan. I'll be 100% honest. I'm just not. I think they have a ways to go. I know it can be a less expensive option, but I still feel there's so many glitches in it that I still would go server-based. That's just my personal preference.
Is that because you guys don't connect to cloud services, or is that because you?
No, we do on some of them, some of our dashboards.
Oh, you do?
Yes. On some of our dashboards. On the Modento side, no, we don't. But again, I just feel like they're glitchy. You really have to use all of their products. So you cannot go outside of their products. They're kind of trying to monopolize. And I think that really hurts offices because, in my opinion, all those patient management softwares, they're scheduling software. They are not patient communication. They're not patient engagement. They're just not going to be there. So I really feel like it hurts practices when they're stuck to, having to use all of their products versus working with a company like us, where this is our specialty.
Yeah, No, I always say, like, you can be great at a few things and you can be good at a lot of things, maybe more, but you can't be great at everything.
Right.
And to me, keeping things open and having control, because look, like if someone else comes onto the market that's better than Modento, which I don't know if there are too many. But if there was, we would want that option, right? And
Right.
so essentially it's more options and yeah, I mean, I say go with people that are great at what they do. And also competition's good, right? So
Right.
if your price has got too much, then we could go with someone cheaper, and that's our option, right? But cloud version definitely limits that. Paula, you have this conversation daily as well, cloud versus server.
Mhm.
What's your opinion on it? And we'll kind of wrap this up after this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same with Camille, but mine's probably just, less hands-on experience with cloud. I also have just feedback from some of our doctors or startups who went with cloud that are now switching to a server-based software. So those are kind of my main things. I've had quite a few docs that went with some of those and now are choosing something else. So I guess just based on that experience, I'm kind of on board with Camille on that. Um, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I am. I did want to say two things before we go. I would say the first thing, I think one thing we missed on, and I'm not 100% sure. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to just get an update. Do you all have, because I get asked this a lot, I had just had a doc buy, walkie-talkies for their practice, which if you've ever been clinical and wearing loops and mask and then having something else on your ear and then hearing the whole office jibber jabber, do you guys offer like an inter-office communication system where the team can message each other?
Yes.
And how does that work? Is that logging on to Modento? How does that work?
Yeah, it's called Live Ops. They can actually track the patients through their practice as well if they wanted to, but they can do in-office chatter through that. If one of the staff members has, an Apple Watch, anything like that, and they're not in the office, they can still chatter through that as well. So
wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Well, we know what all the docs should be getting their team for Christmas. They keep asking. And I'd say the last thing is just from, one of the reasons, I think that, we are such advocates of Modento and their package deal. And I think you wanted to say something about your whole package is, I used it firsthand for a few years in my practice. And I had tried, without naming any names, quite a few out there, a couple. And then in my, lots of years of dental experience, had experienced others, both from a clinical aspect and from, unfortunately, front office. And I just had never experienced something like Modento before. I love the forms. I love the ease of use. I was sort of like, whoa, this is a game changer. It was very cool. And so, I just want everyone to know that's watching it, like I've used it like hands-on, and I've used other ones. And I really felt the experience for both me and my patient and my team was, undeniably great. It was great all the way around.
Cam, are you paying Paula on this episode? Is there like a side deal that I need to know about, or?
I might be paying her.
I do think, yeah. I mean, it is important to know, a little bit about the competition. And I think she said it earlier with some of the things that they do offer that just, again, create an amazing patient experience and more than anything, free up that front office. And I think just undeniably, that's what office doctors want, right? You want the maximum amount of team to have a great patient experience, but you want the minimal amount of overhead.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, anything last to, I mean, that pretty much is the crescendo for you right
Well,
there.
I
But
actually want to throw out a couple statistics on, when you have this software, like some of the data they've collected over time, what it can do for practice. I mean, like,
Yeah, after some time with the startup, once we can gather a lot of data and their analytics for them, we can combine the dashboards. They read each other, and my practices are seeing a 54% increase in annual production when they have both combined.
oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
nice.
That's great. Well,
Who doesn't have 54%? I mean,
I mean,
And that's
54%.
across the board. I mean, we look at our numbers all the time.
right.
So it really does.
And how many offices is that ish?
I don't know. I know that we have over 10,000. I think we're at 12,000 offices right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, any last pieces on the product? Any last comments there, Cam, that you wanted to share?
I just think it's crucial for a startup to have a patient communication program in place immediately.
Yeah, I agree. Well, be sure, folks. I mean, that kind of puts a wrap on it. Ladies, thanks so much for all your input. Paula, thanks for being on, because I surely don't know what I'm talking about in this department. Be sure to, reach out to Cam and ask her any questions. And don't be afraid to mention this episode or Next Level Consultants. We do have some perks that are baked into our status, and so that could help you. Wink, wink. When you reach out to Cam. With that being said, as always, all the descriptions and information is below. Click on that, and Cam, please give your information so they can get a hold of you. Okay.
Wonderful.
Anything else, ladies, before we shut this bad boy down?
No.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show and giving your time today. So I guess without further ado, that's a wrap. See you guys later.
Bye.